Startup Folsom.
Yeah, we'll just dive in. I didn't super have time to prepare, so we're gonna wing it, but it's gonna be a lot of information flying at you. I don't have a slide with all the information, but you can email me if you have a follow-up question at jacob@toybridgeai.com. And I'll give that to Rich to send out. But essentially, let's start at the beginning. Rich mentioned the TEDx talk. So we'll just start with a part of that talk that I thought was interesting and that's kind of relevant today still.
You know that you can build an app in minutes with Base 44.
And my
watch what happens when you don't.
my premiere of YouTube has lapsed, so
now we chase algorithms.
all right.
And this is the first image it actually created.
Oh yeah, so this is our app that he was
That's
referencing.
for sure going to end up in Nano.
But I just wanted to find this part where we're talking about Tyler Perry.
What these price could be, what the cost could be. It's only 20%. Sometimes it's more, $800 million, about 10 minutes of a handful of clips. Type it. Clips. But it'll show you what he saw come out. It was a text-to-video engine. AI bots are directly taking jobs. Sometimes it's more subversive. Case in point, Tyler Perry, he has a huge film studio out in Atlanta, 12 sound stages, bigger than Warner Brothers, and he was just about ready to pull the trigger on an $800 million expansion. And when he saw this new technology come out, it was a text-to-video engine named Sora, S-O-R-A. If you haven't seen it, put in your notes to go home tonight, watch the YouTube demo. It's about 10 minutes of a handful of clips, but it'll show you what he saw, which is, this is where the technology is now, and it almost looks Hollywood level quality. If he wants to have a snowy cabin in the woods, he can just type it. But it's not just about all the jobs that were lost on the expansion. Think about all the food that will never be served by craft services. All the carpenters and craftsmen that will never raise a hammer, or the grips or lighting people that will never bring in stuff. All those jobs are carved out with one decision because of one product. So I think that puts it in perspective. Moving on to the next.
So that was about 2 years ago in summertime, and the models, I thought they were awesome back then, and I couldn't wait to get access to Sora. Back then, that model I was referring to from OpenAI was only for enterprise, only for people that were on the inside track. Then it got released about, a year later, and everyone could play with it, but it wasn't as good. So what they show in this 10-minute demo initially back then was mind-blowing. They showed, the one that really blew me away was the shot of a mining town in the 1800s, and it was kind of a drone shot, and all the buildings and people had so much detail. It looked like they were handcrafted. So they kind of fell behind. They've just since abandoned Sora, the app and stuff, but they put a lot of money into it. It just wasn't producing enough cash, and it was costing them a lot of cash. I only bring this up because essentially where we're at now is the leading engines are, I say 50% of them are Chinese. And so we got Kling, because that's what we're here to talk about, right? Is video models. We want to talk about AI video. Kling, that's a Chinese model. We got Seed Dance, that's the gold standard now. Seed Dance from BytePlus or ByteDance. It's from people that created TikTok, which they had a lot of great training data, and it is really good, as I'll show you. And then we've got a few of the other models like Runway, that's an American company. They're really good. But you've got all these really awesome models, and what they do now too is, that wasn't back then, is they even put sound in there. They can put sound right into the video, and it's it's diegetic. You can it feels like it's in the space that it's spoken. I forgot to mention VO, so that's Google's tool. I've used that one a lot, mainly for a client project, because it does basically talking scenes are pretty good in there. So what you do is because I've used these models a lot for personal projects, for client projects, you start to kind of figure out, this model's good at this model's good at that. And Seed Dance, it's good at basically everything, but it's expensive as hell. I think it's it's expensive relative to spending tokens. Like, it's probably the most expensive token burn that you're going to use, unless you're using Fable 5 or something like that. But it's worth it. I found on this client job that it just saved my bacon a few times when I had some action scenes that I couldn't get right. So today what I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk you through a little bit about my background, some best practices, starting from the ground up, from the idea to going into production mode and then actually making something. I see so many AI videos, and a lot of them, they just don't, we're just used to seeing these images, these stuff, it looks good, there's a sunset, but it's just like too clean. If you're familiar with filmmakers, the Coen brothers, there's something I like about what they do when they cast people in their movies is they cast super realistic looking people, like people that don't have veneers, people that don't have like chiseled jaw lines, just like realistic people, and that adds a sense of like realism. And I think that's the problem with like AI, which it's going to get better. We can fight against it. If you know what you want and you know how to get it, then you can be the Coen brothers of AI, so to speak, creating realistic characters and places that feel real. So how do you do that? Well, the first thing you want to do is you want to protect your IP. So how you do that is you got to prove somewhere down the line, if you're successful and you have a good product, that you created these characters. You created these characters from scratch. So I always start out in pen and paper, and even if you can't draw, well then hire an artist, pay them, buy the work, but I just sketch it. You know, now I have record of it. I take pictures, and then I also use these as my reference images to generate my images. So for one of these, so this one was from for a show that I'm working on called The Woke Yoke. It's about a diner from the future, about 40 years in the future, where robots and humans work together with the same problems and dynamics that we have in our workplace now. But now we've got AI and robots that are half of the people there. So from this image and a good prompt using a tool that I love, so my favorite tool probably is Nano Banana Pro. That's an image creator from Google. I'll show you how to get there. Like the way that I use the API, which charges your credit card or whatever. But I got this image in a one-shot. A one-shot means I just gave you this reference image. I gave it a detailed prompt of like, hey, this guy, which I had Claude help me write, and then I got that image, and it pretty much served as my base image for all the shots that I needed of this guy. And then I had this one, which is a frog grill robot, which you'll see. He was, let's see here. AI. His name's Grillbert. And so I went from that to this. It took a lot of work, and actually that's not even the final one because the real one has like more damage, wear and tear that I added. Yeah, like you see the difference there. Looks a little marred up.
Jacob, what was the project? How did you choose?
This one was just an idea that I had where I wrote a few scenes with characters, and I thought, oh, this would be funny, like, let me see if I can make this show. And originally it was going to be like animated, but I just thought, you know, I'll do it realistic. Once I started playing with this tool, Nano Banana Pro, I was like, man, this is like really cool. I'll just show it to you right now. Like, so the way you get it is you go to Google, the AI Studio, and so this is it. So this AI Studio, you can create anything here, apps, whatever you want to create. You go over here, you hit, okay, cool, what do you want to do? You want to do like images, video, audio, music, agents. You can create software here. It's pretty robust, but I like it because of this feature. It lets me control Nano Banana Pro, which is it's an image generation tool. And so what you can do is you can create custom instructions that you can like basically like color grading. So here's one. This is for like a project I was working on. It's like 35 millimeter. It's kind of like distant. It's cold. It's like, but that wouldn't be good for this. Let's do a test. Let's just do another one. Let's do the diner show color grade, and then aspect ratio. So you can control your aspect ratio here. And then here's a pro tip. So if you want to get like a lot of generations fast, you can say something like a room full of people, varying ages, varying ethnicities, watching someone speak in a room in a Silicon Valley type conference room in the afternoon. There's some slices of sunlight coming in, but it's overall pretty medium, not too big of contrast with the lighting. And give me a 2x2 grid variation. I want 4 different angles. All right, so we'll just run this, and we're gonna run at 1K. So 1K is a little faster. You know, I can go up to 4K if I want, but this is like a trick. And sometimes like actually for something like this where I'm doing a 2x2 grid. So what I'm doing here is I've said I want to make a 16:9, but what I want to do is I'm going to do that, break that into 4 sections. So I'll get 4 options at once instead of 1 at once. And then if I like one, then I can upscale it. So we run it. So I'll just run that in the background. Oh, of course. Let's try it again. Okay, it's off to the races. So I don't know how long this will take, maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute, maybe 90 seconds.
It's all in the cloud.
Yeah.
The software's all in that, including all the characters and everything, right?
When you say they're in the cloud, what do you mean?
You're not saving anything in your computer or your drive.
No, I save a lot here. Like when I create the images, I download them and I organize them in files.
Okay. Does Google own it?
Okay, who got a score?
Does Google have access to your file? Does Google own it? Is it?
Oh, it's mine.
Is it? Okay.
It's mine because of what I told you before, because I own the IP. Because I can prove in copyright for it that I created the characters. Plus, they're not going to try to steal my stuff, because then who would want to use their platform?
They want to learn about us. It's not that they're trying to steal our email. They want to create data that they can sell.
Yeah, I don't want to go into it too much, but you're right. But the thing is, like, they're also using it to make better products, so we'll be more hooked in and we'll want to use them more. And I'm all for that.
And
So,
give them more information.
Yeah. Yeah, because where do they get it all? So like now they know all the way that I'm creating. They're seeing all the shots I make, and you know I can see the products getting better. Like they're getting better, and I don't have the resources to create these tools. They do, so I feel like it's a fair trade. Yeah.
The way that I use, I kind of like go online on my pictures. I give a bunch of reference. Oh, I like this person's hair, or this person's clothes, and. You mentioned about IP. Is that do the business run any kind of liability for using other people's reference? Do you know like how much is the?
I mean, that's really getting into the nitty gritty of it, where you know, I mean, the chances of you getting sued because you used some hair that you liked on a character you created, as long as you can prove that the character in general. You know, like the key aspects came from you, and they don't, you know, it doesn't look like Jack Sparrow, or it doesn't look like some prominent character that's worth a lot of money IP-wise. Mm-hmm. You know, unfortunately, I haven't ran into this problem yet because I haven't made anything that's that big. So fingers crossed, maybe next year I can tell you an update. But I mean, we all do that. Like I think, you know, in Midjourney and all these other ones use reference images, and I think that's useful. Like. What I'll do too is here's another way to do it is you can scrape it. So there's a tool, like the way that, what's awesome is there's so many different ways to attack these problems is, okay, so you say you like the hair from this person and you like the clothes from that person. You just say, hey, you take that image of that hair, you put it into GPT or Claude and you say, describe this hair to me, right? Now you kind of lifted it, you've lifted the style, and you put a tweak on it. It's like, I want you to describe this hair to me, but in this way, or change the color to green, whatever. Then you get that, you can use it in your prompts with your artwork, with your original IP sketch or whatever, and now you're kind of like, you're able to lift that, but you're not using it as a direct image reference. Mm-hmm. So if it ever did get to the high-level lawyers, then it'd be a lot harder to prove that you were like actually feeding in images. But guaranteeing the Hollywood people and all the people working down there, they're grabbing stuff off the internet and they're using it as reference images.
Yeah.
Like I've seen
like
it.
we all create mood boards, right? Like back in the day. So
exactly. You just gotta be careful. Like if it's something that's like really sticks out prominently, like you don't want to reference it too much. So this is what it made. You know, it's not bad. I mean, it looks more like a boardroom. I guess I could have described this room. Like if I had more time, I could take 2 or 3 pictures of this room and be like, describe this room, and then I would use that as a prompt plus, you know, whatever I added on. But that's how easy it is. So now what I would do is I would download this, and then I would go into markup, and I would just like, oh, I like the top left frame. Like say I like this left frame, I would just carve that out. I would just make it its own clip, and then I would re-upload it to Nano Banana and say, upscale this, you know, and I would choose 4K, and then I get like a really high-end image. And you want to do that because the way that it used to be when I was giving that talk, what people were doing, this seems crazy now. People were just typing in like, oh, give me, I want like a scene, like, okay, so this is for a video prompt. They're like, I want a cop car, and there's a guy, and there's a black guy driving the cop car, and there's like a meth addict in the back seat, and they're racing away from some robbers. People would just spend credits like that. Now it seems ludicrous because you don't know what you're going to get, and you're not getting any consistency. It was fun though. It was like a parlor trick. Now it's getting serious business. Is like I would never even waste 1 credit on something unless it was for like maybe a social media client job or something where it's a throwaway and it doesn't have to be consistent. I would never do that. I would always start with an image. So what you're doing is you're basically, the job now if you want to make movies is keyframing. You create your keyframes. Keyframes. It's an animation term. But essentially what you're doing is you're giving the engine some place to start from, and then it can animate from there. So we could, you know, like for instance, let me show you a few of the ones from the sets. Okay, so there's the diner short. You know, it's been a long day, I need my glasses. Sorry, you're late. You have to leave.
Stop pizza in the back and
Okay, so let's see. Sets. Shot scenes. I think is it. Here we go. Okay, so main griddle area. So this is where I had a lot of people hanging out. So look at, these are all, I created thousands of images. I'll say your biggest problem is going to be managing all the assets you create. Close-ups, you know, different angles, trying to get just angles I can use where people can talk to each other and have conversation. It's extremely hard. This is back in December, so about 6 months ago. It still is a pain in the ass. And as you can see, the characters aren't always perfectly re-represented, but you do your best. And so those keyframes you use to kick off animations. And the way that I like to do that is just kind of jumping ahead here is I like to use this one called Runway. Now I don't really like their model as much. What I do like is...
Is that a software package or?
This is an online cloud app called Runway, ML. It's pretty cool. Where's my studio at? I can never figure out where to start again. Go to video, and then,
Do you,
yeah.
when you have like a character, right? Like, okay, when they are, and then you sketch, you have like a photo. Do you have like any 3D, because you mentioned about consistency? And
3D for the character or 3D for the...
Yeah, or for the space, right? Like, how do you do it to keep that consistency, or you just make sure that like every
That's why that's a good question. That's why it's important to create these keyframes. So a lot of them now are doing like they call them tear sheets. So it has the character in like a couple different angles, close up, and you know, you only need one side at an angle, at a 3/4 angle, and then you can flip it. And so that helps with the consistency, you know, like each one of these characters had their own, what do you call it? Like, you know, tear sheet, my version of the tear sheet. So depending on what shot I'm trying to create, I spent a lot of time is like, I would give it a shot of just the frog from this angle, plus the guy from that angle, and then the set, and I'd say, put them all together, and then I want different angles, and, you know, But you bring up a good issue because like what I do struggle with is getting camera angles. Like that's my biggest, well, performance and camera angles. Getting the acting to be good, that's still hard. And there's people say you can like film yourself and then put it in. It kind of works better for animation than it does for realistic because the way that the tools work. I expect that to get a lot better like quickly, but what you want to do is essentially, there's some new tools coming out where people are like having little 3D sets using game engines, and then you can use that, and once the AI knows your environment you can kind of choose camera angles from there. It's hit or miss, but it's getting better. It's getting better every day. It's just, compared to where it was like 6 months ago with this project, it was really tricky. Up until then, like the first project I'll show you was one I did for this company. Not for them, but for a 48-hour film contest they had back in 2025. And so I just dove in and they gave you a bunch of free credits. So I just said, oh cool, I'm gonna go learn. So I spent a whole weekend and I just went to the office for a whole weekend and went crazy. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, here it is. So I'll just show you like, let's see. I don't want to give anything way too cool, but so what you do is, so this is Runway, and what you want to do is, let me show you. I swear, I think their interface kind of sucks. Except for this thing. Okay, here we go. This is the thing I like about it is, so, all right, let's do a reference. So this is your basic working window in Runway, but it's powerful, and I'll show you why right now. Let's just pick an image. So this is a JPEG. Okay, so what I can do is I can put my prompt in here, blah, 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 and then you can control everything from here. So what this allows you to do now, and a lot of people are doing this, is you can choose different models, even though Runway had its own model, but their model's not the best anymore, not even close. So what you can do is you can choose your model here. So it has the top ones, and my favorite probably are C-Dance and VO3. Clean is also good, I just don't have enough experience with it. So you choose your model, you choose your resolution, you choose your format, and then you would just say, go to town. I don't know what happened to that one, but.
So is Runway kind of like your editor, video editor? Or your...
No, it does that too. That's what it's showing here, but it's just trying to sell you something else. I would never, it's an online editor. It's actually pretty good, but it's all in the cloud. Dolly out, blah, 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 whatever. Then you just hit generate here, and then, this is only available at 1080p. And then you just hit generate, and then what's really cool is you can just generate a bunch of different ones. So what I would do is, I would just use the same window, dolly out, I would hit generate, and then I would just go to the next model, and then I would hit the button again. So it's really quick to do testing. And sometimes I would do it at lower, unless I was really sure, I would do it at a lower resolution if possible, because then you're not gonna waste as many credits. Because like I said, C-Dance is super expensive. Anyways, so that's kind of like where I started with it, and that's where it went. And then, so basically, like, let me look at my little notes because I don't want to make sure I go in the right order. Particular IP.
One thing real quick, when you're using AI Studios, I noticed you had the temperature setting to 1. Is that because you want the model to be a little bit looser because you're doing like animation stuff, fun stuff?
I really don't mess around with temperature.
Okay.
Because usually the default settings are optimized from my findings. Whenever I start like messing with the temperature, it just like, there's other variables that I will work with that will mean more like the prompt, different, I guess trying different like structures, simpler, more complex, using different language to see, like that actually makes a lot bigger difference. The temperature though, I mean, it could work. I remember I messed with temperatures early on, and
are any of the hyper parameters, any of the other ones?
No.
No.
But there's getting like more of the tools are getting better where you can like actually adjust those things on the fly.
Yeah. That's just what I noticed. That's what.
Yeah. So what I do is like here's one of the things I did is like I created a skill because I was having such a problem with getting the way I wanted images. Is I would just be like, okay. So what I would do is be like, say something like, okay, so here's a good example. I'm gonna add a file. I'm gonna go to, say here, use skill. So I created a bunch of skills, but this one's probably my best. It learned all the best practices with Nano Banana Pro. And then I'll be like, to give me a bird's eye angle, a prompt for a bird's eye angle of this casket, and there's a bunch of Muppets around it. And then I would just hit that, and then what it'll do is it's going to use that skill, and it's going to look at the image, and then it's going to figure out the environment, and then it's going to go, there it goes, scrutinize the copyright implications. I shouldn't have said Muppets. But it'll probably rewrite it to be like, furry critters, whatever. But we weren't going to generate this, but what all this is going to do is give me a text prompt. So this is the process though, like you start with your images. It could be even a sketch. So sometimes I'll just have a notepad next to me and I'll do a quick sketch, and that'll be enough to get the camera angle. Like I'm not a great artist, but I would be able to kind of like inform the model enough to like, here's how big I want the character in the scene, here's the angle, and then I give it the rest of the information, and then I throw in the skill, and it's able to give me a really good image. But here it is. It gives
Talking about Disney IP first.
Yeah. Is that what it said?
Yeah, that's the top part.
Yeah, they're just covering their ass there. So, that's the process, but it's a hit or miss game. Like, now I throw this in, like if I think that I'm not gonna have a chance to get this and it's gonna take me a long time, then that's when I use my 2x2 trick. And I just say, give me a 2x2 grid of this, and then I'll get 4 options at once. And I'll just run a bunch of those at 1K, so like it only takes maybe 45 seconds to get one of those back at that low res. And so I'll just do it like over and over again. I won't even wait to see what it gives me. I'll just run like 4 or 5 of them. Then I'll have 20 options, and I'll go through them, and real quick I'll be like, ooh, that's the one. I can use that one, I can use that one. And then I'll carve them out and I'll upscale them, and then I'll go, But it's like you gotta break these things into a process where sometimes I get so excited that I'll just like jump around, and then that's when all of a sudden you look in your downloads folder and you're like, I can't find anything here. So my main piece of advice is use the 2x2 grid trick. And if you're working on a project with multiple generations, whatever it is, organize as you go and clean out your downloads folder so it's almost completely bare before you start a new session. That is, and if you use a Mac, I just totally use these tags all the time. I have my own internal mental system of like what yellow means, what blue means, what green means, what purple means, what a green with a purple means. It's just like, they just developed from doing it so many times. So, yeah.
You mentioned creating videos for clients, right? And I imagine they have like products. So
They have what?
And it's the same process.
Sorry, you said for clients and they have what?
Products.
Oh yeah.
Like, so do you, and then you mentioned that process, right? Okay, do you use the same process for them, or just that's more kind of like creative with no out of your mind, or because you mentioned about being realistic?
So like usually if they have a product, I haven't done any with physical products yet.
She's like process.
No, product.
She said products.
Yeah, product, sorry. Yeah.
So what I do is, like what I would do, and I've already thought about this because I've had a few talks with clients about maybe somebody with a good gadget from Australia, whatever. So usually most of them have really high, like say it's a new drink, energy drink. They're gonna have great visuals and they're gonna have like vector files of all of their creative, and they should have even 3D renders. But if you have to, then you could use something like Cinema 4D, which is not hard to learn. It's just a program where you could like take a label and map it onto a can. But anything else more complex than that, like an actual device that has a unique look, feel, whatever, usually they're gonna have a CAD file, they're gonna have a 3D file. And so you can use that, and then these things can texture. So you can like move that around in an image, even if it doesn't have the full color or whatever on it, you could take that image and then bring it into like Nano Banana Pro and say, I want you to like basically bring this to life. I want to make it realistic. Create like a texture. I want it to be silver. I want this button to be yellow. All that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you could do it that way, and that's the way that I know people do it. Like, I had a friend who's working with Meta for the Meta glasses, and he had to use a lot of AI because they're trying to go all AI film production now. And you just get the 3D files from the engineers, and then from the product place, and then you've got perfect angles and perfect representation of the product. So I'll just jump into like now some of the stuff I've made. So this was going back to Runway had a contest, 48 hours. They gave me 300,000 credits, which is a lot. Couldn't even use them all. And then they had this new references system, which was kind of groundbreaking at the time. This is back, like I said, this is like maybe back last spring. And I just dove in. And so where I started was, this is Midjourney. I'm sure you're familiar with this one. The way I got these was they use this thing called, I forget how you do it. I haven't used it in so long. You can talk to it and it can generate almost as fast as you can talk, or as you can type. But it has this mode where you just keep talking and say, okay, do this, do that, do this. Now I want this. And so when I first started this project, I was like, okay, I didn't know what I want to do. And I'm like, oh, I want to do a Western. And I'm like, I'm going to do a Western. I'm going to make it like 21:9, like CinemaScope, like really wide. And here's all the ideas I have. And so what I did is I just went crazy. Like, I made way too many images. I wasn't even able to use all these. I ended up did using a few of these, but just like crazy things, different ways for people to die in the desert, weapons, that's a different project down there. But it was so cool to just be able to generate all these. And then what was happening is, like, as I'm generating these, I'm just thinking of like, oh, I could use that. This is helping me tell the story. It's like it's kind of like a new way of writing. Like, I'm like writing with I'm writing the story with, my director of photography right with me, and he's like showing me like, we could do this, we could do that, and I'm like, yeah, I like that idea. Like Silverado, boom, like that guy looks like a centaur. Okay, pocket watches, crazy frogs, like fires in the village. And it just was awesome, like gun barrels. And it gets, Midjourney's not the greatest when it comes to consistency. Like, I don't even know what it's trying to show me here. Like, but over time you get a few good shots, and then you can use those. So this was like a process, and what I did is I ended up just recording like the voiceover, and I added music. I created the music in Suno. So except for my voice, it was all AI. And I'll just show it to you now. And I thought I would have a chance to win, but I think I violated some of the violence rules, unfortunately. So this is based on a true story, so I just made it my own. This famous writer named Ambrose Bierce, he disappeared in the desert. That's true. He was an old writer.
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure the qualities. Yeah.
October of 1913, at the age of 71, celebrated writer, Civil War veteran Ambrose Bierce embarked on a journey to Mexico to join Pancho Villa and his army and witness the revolution firsthand. His final correspondence, a letter from Chihuahua dated 26th of December 1913, shed light in the mind of a seasoned adventurer. As Bierce stated, I leave here tomorrow for an unknown destination. If you hear of me being stood up against the Mexican stone wall and shot to rags, please know that I think it's a pretty good way to part with this life. After mailing his letter, he vanished, never to be heard from again. He joined up with Pancho Villa and his men down at the Battle of Iconagua, where he was killed during the fight, either in combat or executed after. Some of them said Villa thought he told a good story, let him pass through. There was a report that he choked on a chicken bone at a hotel in San Juanito, swallowed by a dust storm, struck by lightning, fell off a cliff, caught in a cave-in, took a hatchet to the head, chased to his death by bats, wolves, a bear, mine shaft ghosts, or hungry vultures, impaled, blinded by bandits and bound to a donkey to wander the plains until ravaged by nature or old age. One old-timer said He remembered the bard was prospecting for a big gold strike in the Sonoran Desert when he was killed by a scorpion. But not like you think. Anyways, more than maybe, Bierce probably reckoned this was a one-way trip from the onset. Maybe that meant he had a plan. I like to think the best for him. That he found the fountain of youth and went on to live and love again. Could be he met some new amigos, not from around here. He could have found a fortune, changed his name and become a railroad tycoon, or fall asleep under an old oak tree at the river. Whatever end he found, or that found him, I hope it was filled with a few last moments of peace and harmony, of living that can't fit into words. For old Ambrose, whatever happens remains unknown. We think he may just be happy to be remembered. Because before you know it, the long shadows come for all of us. A time when we must step into a new darkness. One we must explore by ourselves.
That last part was just some random thing it threw in. Like I just kept it because I liked it, so random. But you know, that was a lot of work, but it was crammed in 2 days. Ended up getting some more jobs, but you know, it's not perfect, but it's like you got to go with the process and realize. I come from a traditional filmmaking background where I had complete control, but it was completely expensive too. You know, you got to feed the crew. I'm not saying I don't want to feed people and I don't want to pay people for the services, but we're in this time, and I always like to play with the new tools. If something comes out, just like when the editing software changed and you could like edit stuff at home, then I would do that. So that's where we're at. Any questions?
Yeah. So in this short video, I think multiple styles are presented. Sometimes it looks like an Indiana Jones movie. Sometimes it's more documentary. Sometimes it's almost like cartoonish.
Yeah.
Do you specifically tell it to do that, or like what was the platform you were using, Midjourney, or
It was Midjourney and ChatGPT image maker, and then the rest were like Runway. Because I had all these free credits, so it was Runway did a lot of the animation. But the style you're talking about, like mixing it all.
Yeah. Does it come up with its own thing, or do you tell it specifically?
Well, I mean, every shot, like I had to basically create the shots. So you see these shots, but there's like 10 times more. And these were like some of the best ones. And then also it was a time limit. So some of the ones I look at now, like I cringe, I would like to go replace them, but I'm just gonna move on to a new project. So kind of like, I have two answers, like some of it where they're not all like, they're different styles, some's cartoon, some's documentary. I figure like I could play into the unknown of the story. Like it's kind of like we don't know, so it could be anything, right? But there was no talking, like, so that's the thing, is like there's no talking characters, there's no exchanges, it's just a voiceover. That's easy to do with filmmaking now, like with AI filmmaking. And I would recommend it unless you have a real, like a mandate where you gotta have people like exchanging words. And if they're short exchanges, great. Like, I'll tell you right now, VO, Google's tool, is awesome for talking scenes. And this is what it looks like. Here they go. They changed the thing. They changed it on me.
So can you do it off from a prompt, or you have to create like a separate audio file, like using Eleven Labs, and then upload it?
Sorry, what?
So when you said the talking scenes, like are you generating the audio like through 11 Labs?
No.
Or it's all through the prompt through?
It's all through the prompt. I've tried using 11 Labs. So audio is like the next tricky thing. You know, trying to get audio that matches the environment, that doesn't sound different. Now, the last project I'll show you, like we're going to show you one more before that, but this one, man, it was hard. So it would change voices on me. I had consistent characters over like 4 or 5 different scenes. There's 3 siblings, and they had to have different clothes, but look the same in like 3 of the scenes, whatever. But it would change their voices. And when I was in the middle of this project 2 months ago, Google came out with now we can do voice consistency, and I haven't even got into that yet. So I've just been winging it, and then sometimes I just redo generations just to get a better voice or voices matched. So going forward from here on out, that's going to be my next thing that I'm going to really focus on, is getting the voices really good, consistent, because people can tell. Like, one, if you use 11 Labs, I don't know if you ever noticed, like, depending on how you're doing your production, if you use 11 Labs, which for you don't know, it's like, it's a voice, you can create realistic voices, but it does it in a studio environment. It sounds like you're just like in a Hollywood sound studio and you recorded the voice. Trying to put that into a realistic environment, I mean, you got to be in like the top 5% of like Hollywood audio engineers to be able to make that seem like it's there. It's hard. But these tools are coming out better to like help us along. And I'll tell you, so Seed Dance I really like, because one of the hidden tricks that I figured out at the end of this project, but I just wrapped the basics of it last 2 weeks ago, is that with the right prompting, you can get not only a great image, but Seed Dance has amazing audio capabilities where it can do the Foley. It can do music, but I always basically just do it without music. I say, give me everything but the music. I want the environment, I want the sound effects, I want the voices, but don't give me music because it won't match the next shot, and I'll put the music in after. I'll do that myself. And they just came out with this new one called Seed Audio 1.0, and that one's just a dedicated audio engine. So I know there's going to be some cool ways they're going to integrate those. Like, I'm actually meeting with a guy from Byte Plus from China on at 5:30 in the morning on Monday morning, because that's the only time he had. But to get on their enterprise program where I get access to the newest tools, that's how much I think this tool is awesome. Like this one shot, this is a one shot that I found on Reddit, and bear with me, just it's worth the wait. I just gotta find my save, but it is really good. It was about Michael Jackson, but the way that Seed Dance did this, and this is like three months ago. I found it on Reddit. But look at the camera angles. Like, look at the camera angles I'm going to show you. Look at the sound, everything. It's like a 15-second video, but somebody did it with one prompt. Absolutely amazing. Now, they might have ran that thing 50 times for all I know, maybe 20, I don't know. But whatever it came down to, let's see, where's Michael Jackson? All right. Here's another thing people are doing. See this? So I don't know if you've seen this, but if you're on Twitter at all or anywhere else, is they show you all. That's what they do. They feed in all these reference shots, and they basically Seed Dance to figure out what the organization is, and then it's going to run those shots and it's going to make them all at once. So it's showing you the final video, but with everything went into it. You don't have to be that prescriptive, but it helps depending on what you're trying to do. Okay. Sorry, one second. I just thought of this. I think that you're going to like it, but I want to show the power of Seed Dance. Okay, here it is. Oh my God. It's the king. It's so dope. Watch his foot, the way it cuts from the foot to him spinning around in wide shot. It's just perfect. It's a perfect video in my opinion, because like you could like work in the industry for years and not be able to make something that good. So what we're able to do is leverage. I can't wait till like the kid in the basement in Michigan makes the next Star Wars, and it's going to be good. It's going to be worth watching, and it's going to be like using these tools. And he's going to do it. It might cost him a summer's worth of mowing lawns, but it's not going to cost 30, 40, 50, $500 million. You know, it's no Odyssey. So that's where we're at. Let me jump to the next project that I did. So the diner one, that's what I did for, basically I was trying to win $1 million because they had this Dubai festival, and if you made a short film, the winner got $1 million, and I deluded myself thinking like, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna do comedy, they're gonna love it. It's just so hard. I totally went in over my head, but I learned more than I would ever learn because of the driving. So I failed, but I won.
Were you able to go to Dubai?
No, I didn't finish the video, unfortunately. But next year. Let me look at the clips, where they at. I'll show you the one from here. Okay. Actually, I'm just gonna show you the one. Because it's been a while since I opened these, but I want to show you the QuickTime file on my computer. So that one is. Okay. Here it is. I'll show you a quick clip of the beginning I was doing. So it's just like, there's so many different things you can do here. Let's open this one. Okay, so this is for a contest. I was trying to, it was gonna be too long. I had the script, ensemble characters. I never did anything close to this, but I learned a lot. And you're gonna notice that there is like definitely some sound issues. There's a scene I'll skip over where I didn't get a chance to like fill in the robots talking to each other and stuff, but you get the idea of like the realism it can achieve.
We gonna have a good morning, Craig? You bring good news?
Well, the coffee is ready, if that's what you're asking.
Nothing like the first smoke of the day. For a bot, you got heart? For a 6,000 series, you got heart, yeah.
Totally unrealistic, but yeah.
It's time to cook. I feel like a Denver omelet.
A regular breakfast inspiration, sir.
Hey, what do you think you're doing? This isn't that.
You think I don't care?
I know you do. And that's why you have to see him off proper.
No one ever asked me to be friends with a robotic frog.
The little effer has charisma. He got you.
So this is a new guy. Basically gets him a new uniform.
Sorry, it just looks like you need to eat something.
Are you for real right now? Why are you pushing me?
I don't know, I had this crazy idea that we could have some laughs. You know, like a normal day, before you never see me again.
That was pretty funny. Have you heard that new Killer Cast track?
Killer Cast on the airwaves, dialing into the brain rock.
Rock on the moon, they were on my car. Oh no, they crashed my car, they were so fast. Rock on the moon, they were on my car. Oh no, they crashed my car, they were so
Wait a second. He was a bird back then. You can't hold him accountable for murder.
I see your hand in the packing bag.
It was like a tough voice.
Truth told, you struck me more as a machine of war. So we both have a checkered past. No, I couldn't care less about that greasy frog. Between us, I plan to eradicate everyone here, present company excluded. I'll start by destroying morale in the break room, then the town, then the world, all seduced by a perfectly pulled espresso shot. Very astute observation, Rob.
I saw them rock on the moon. They were on my car. Oh no, they crashed my car. They were so fat I never saw one. Never on my car. I had dripping off my neck, my toes opening out. I was like liquid gold.
Sorry for intruding, but I didn't get a chance to share. My name is an acronym. Kitchen Robotic Assistant for Various Endeavors. CRAVE.
I saw they were
So yeah, that was fun, and that song actually I created in the driveway with my son because we were just messing around with Suno, and we were recording things like, oh, make up some lyrics, and what do you want to sound like? And he likes this YouTube artist named Boy with Uke. So I'm like, cool, we'll do the beats at like 150, I forget what it was, but I want a ukulele with like a good beat. And then we made that song, and I was like, oh cool, I like the song, so we go in the movie. It was just spontaneous, but that's the coolest thing about these tools. It allows you to just go and like make stuff as you want. Yeah.
How do you manage time, right? Because again, you have so much learning curve, so many platforms, and then like you have a deadline or a client's asking for something. So how do you, what are the best practices that you have?
Well, for the short term, you have to abandon your work-life balance. That's one thing. Because when I made this in December, I had a client that I was making social media posts for, blog posts for, plus still have a full-time job as a Google contractor, being a technical program manager. That's 40 hours a week, plus my client work, and then this was like the extra stuff. So you got to fit it in, and you got to do it every day. Like, if you can carve out time at the same time of day to just go in, and you don't have to basically just have one simple goal. Like sometimes on these movies, I'll get stuck on like a technical part where it's not working, but I'll keep trying to get it. But if I can't, I'll just jump to a new part of the movie, to like basically give myself a break, because I'm mentally stressed about it. That's not working, and then you just go to another part of the movie. But you always just try to make a little bit of progress, and you'll be surprised. Just like anything, if you're writing a novel, same thing. What do the novelists always say? Like, just write like 3 pages a day or whatever. Same thing with the practice. And I would say, these tokens are expensive, but the way I'm trying to approach it is, if I hired like a director of photography and we're shooting film, or even have a real film crew, we're gonna like try to be as efficient as we can using our time and our resources. And so I try to take that same mentality into filmmaking on the AI front, but it's a little harder because you get like, oh, I want to try this, I want to try that. And you start making shots you don't actually need. So you always got to keep pulling yourself back to be like, what are like the minimum shots? And I actually started creating an agent that I'm working on now, which is like a creative partner. I call him Fritz. It's a working title, but Fritz is like my master DP who is on me from the beginning of the project. Just when I'm like thinking out loud, like, oh, I want to make a movie about this. Here's some sketches. Here's like a scene that I wrote. And then Fritz will start basically thinking about, here's how we could shoot it. Like, what kind of look do you want? Oh, what kind of like lighting are you thinking about? And then he'll say, I'll be like, what's the most economical way we can get this? Like, we got a scene about a girl breaking up with her boyfriend at a diner in Paris. How do we tell that story in the minimum amount of shots that's the most impact? So you approach it like that way, and that will save you a lot of time. Now, but I do say that I got a lot of happy accidents by avoiding, like just totally going the opposite way and just totally messing around and just like exploring things and trying things. And that's the cool, like with the Western one, I was able to basically adapt it to my script. I wrote the script after, actually. So I knew the shots that I had, so I wrote the script after I made all the shots. It was a totally new way of making a movie.
What are the tools? What tool are you? Are you mostly like in Runway, or are you mostly in?
Good question. It's like Runway, because I showed you I'm able to jump around different video engines without having to like leave. And so when you create them, they all just line up. Doesn't matter if you made it with C-Dance or Kling or VO, they all appear there just in the order that you generate them. Sometimes, because it gets too complicated, I'll just have different chats going. So I don't want to generate, I don't want to make a mistake when I get tired. I'll go run a C-Dance clip and it'll cost me hella money. Yeah, that's, I would say like Runway, Nano Banana Pro. I kind of live in that one. So
that's what you, Nano Banana Pro is the one you kind of mostly do, and Runway is like you try to use multiple engines.
Yeah, and so I've got like three main things going on all at once usually, and that is like I got my Claude or my ChatGPT chats going, and they're aware of the context of the project. They know what I'm trying to accomplish, and then I usually say, okay, this is like the scene I'm working on. I'll feed it in like the script, and I'll be like, we got to start here. I need the shots, like, and I'll even ask it, what shots do you think I need to like get the coverage for the scene? And then it'll give me a shot list, and then another way that I would do it too, like, so I'm trying to develop these tricks to like save me time. So I would say Nano Banana Pro, Runway, or whatever video engine you're using, and then your basic text AI, your text model, because that way you can, yeah.
So you said you come from a traditional film background. So for people that doesn't have that background, what do you think is the best way to learn the film language in order to get it better prompt?
I would say you could go read a bunch of books, you know, but really, if you like movies, if you watch movies, you kind of already know the basics. You already know inside of you that to tell a good story, like, you need to show a face, you need to show emotion, you need to bring the music up. You might not know all that when you're going, but I'll say the best school is like, you can say, I'm gonna go make a short film and I'm gonna do this. That's fine. I like contests because there's like a finite, there's an ending, there's a deadline. And so what that forces you to do is like, when you get down, you get tired, you have to keep going. And finishing is the most important part. So I always say start with shorts. Even like social media, you make a vertical video, do a 10-second scene, like try to like evoke some emotion, but start with just those, because all real movies are a bunch of short films linked together. That's all, you know. So it's a great question, and the thing is, like, people that never have made movies before, like kids, well, anyone, not just kids, everyone. Just that I think young people are a little more less afraid, from what I've seen, to just jump in and like, you know, not worry about making mistakes, and they just go for it. I know that, like, but that doesn't apply to everyone. Everyone can do that. So my advice is like, just go. It doesn't matter if you don't have experience. Just go, like, start making stuff.
Who won, by the way?
Who did?
U.S.
Okay, awesome. Go USA. You start making stuff, and like, that's how I started. And I learned all the best stuff I learned was from making it. And then you get tired, you're making something, you go on YouTube and you see like, oh, here's a clip of Christopher Nolan talking about directing, how he directs his actors. Now that doesn't apply as much here because, you know, you're like prompting the actors. That's my biggest problem with this, is like, the perfect world would be to have a nice green screen stage with real actors, and then be able to leverage all this stuff for the visuals and get those big set pieces. But in my mind, in the future, like, I really feel like working with actors is the key unlock, because you can direct them, and you can like have a set that's just like a few things. You don't need the whole set. But say it's like in this big military complex, right? Some set you could never afford on a zero budget. But if you like, well, this place, you know, if you got it for a weekend or a day, you could set up a few walls in here and a few angles and lights and get 2 actors acting in here, and then you could fill in the rest with AI. You know, now a lot of that seems like, oh, how would I ever do that? Well, you just try it. You just figure it out. There's tutorials. Like anything you want to learn, you can go learn.
And it sounds like Claude or ChatGPT is also your partner in creating the scenes.
Yeah, and you know what? It's okay. It's going to tell you. It's going to blow smoke right up your ass, and it's going to tell you you're so great and that your ideas are brilliant.
But they are.
I say only believe it like 30% of the time. You want to just, you know, but it is a great partner because sometimes you're just alone with it, and then it's going to help you out of a jam, you know. When I created that skill for Nano Banana Pro, I was at an office, a co-working space, and I was visibly frustrated, and my friend Singh was like, hey, dude, I can help you. I'm like, you don't even know anything about this stuff. How are you going to help me? And he had this prompt optimizer, and I said, this is what I'm trying to do. And he ran it through there, and he created this this skill that I use to this day, just from that short conversation. And it made me think, oh, you know what? Because I'm more of a brute force person. Like, that's not always the right answer. Like, just because you can go hard and fast, I was hitting my head against the wall a lot, and then I realized I got to take a step back and think about how do I make the process better. Like, you actually got to improve the process as you go. So there's a lot to manage. You know, there's a lot to manage.
Can you talk about what you said you have clients, and what type of videos are they asking you to make?
I'll show you.
Okay. Even better.
So this is a new thing that I did. This is actually worked pretty awesome. Is I would put the thumbnail in here. It knows the scene. I would just take a screenshot of this, and I would drop it in. So it has like, basically it has the duration. I'd have the asset name, like in a perfect world, I'll add the asset name. But it has a thumbnail, so you can see what I'm talking about. It shows the shot number. See, this one's like a 2-part shot, so it'd be used like that as like a starting keyframe, ending keyframe. This one's just a single. So I would just feed this in and cut off here before I scroll down again. And I would say, okay, give me all the prompts for C-Dance and VO3. So I get 2 sets of prompts for all the shots, and then I would just go run those shots. And I already have, you know, and the way you run a shot is you gotta add the keyframe. I wonder if I could just show you like one thing of like how to do that, but it's a little technical, but it's not hard. Essentially, like if I was in Runway over here, if I can find it. I think I closed it. Oh wait, here it is. No. Anyways, what you do is when you do these things, when you run actual video prompt, what you do is you go into Runway, you describe the prompt, but I wanted help, and Claude would already know, like, this is what I wanted out of the scene. So I would give it that shot of this, and then it would give me a bunch of separate video prompts for each shot. And in that video prompt, it would have the title of the image. And that's very important, because even though like these engines are good, you still want to give it something to reference and then you go and you add the image is named appropriately, and then you just paste in the text that it gave you. So in one shot I can get like 5 or 10, if I'm doing 2 engines, I get like 5 or 10 prompts, and then it's like becomes a system. Then it's like you're on an assembly line, and I'm feeding in my image, I'm feeding in the prompt. It was already written for me by Claude. I might tweak it a little bit, and then I run them all, and then I wait to see what comes back, and I review it. And because I have that experience with filmmaking, when I get the shots back, I can watch it pretty much one time. I'll know, like, is it usable? Is it good? Maybe the back end is good, the front end is bad. Maybe I can use the sound from there. But this project was basically because of the diner thing, even though I was like kind of in like depressed mode, oh, I didn't make it, I didn't win $1 million. I was like, so my friend has this company, and it's totally dystopian. It's called Cremation Club. So basically it's like you can sign up. It's their whole thing is $99. When you die, you pay $99. Your family doesn't deal with any of the craziness of a funeral home and all that. And they come pick you up, burn you up, and send your ashes back to the family.
$99.
Yeah. Now the caveat is it's cheap. It's great. That's the hook. But what they do is once you sign up, what?
That's all you're worth, is $99.
Hey, you know what? Hey, it's better than like $15,000.
Packaging, right?
Depends how you look at it, right? Like they send you back in a nice urn at least, I think. But you got to pay $13.99 once you sign up. Depending on how old you are, you got to sign up. You got to pay $13.99 a month until that day comes. So that's that's the fine print. That's what people figure out. But to them, it's still a good deal because they look at the cost of a real funeral, and a lot of them don't want to put their families through it. So this guy came to me. I met him through a friend. He saw my diner video, and he was going to go with someone else. I got on a call with him, and I said, dude, I could do this. I could make it funny. So he already had a script written. So he wanted to make basically a brand, kind of like a, what do you call it? It's like, it's not going to be a real commercial, but he wanted to make something that would stand out, that he could show like at trade shows or for fun, that would be kind of like their brand, crown jewel or whatever, to like show people. And so he gave me the script. I reworked it. I pretty much didn't change the structure, but I rewrote a lot of the lines, and I'll show it to you now, unless you guys have any questions.
Excited to see it.
So this one's probably my most complex. It has the most. There's still a lot of things that aren't right with it. This is like not the final cut. I'm doing the color correction still. I got to do fix some of the audio is not perfect, but it's pretty much polished. Yeah.
Cremation Club.
Yeah. Post. Is this the one? No. I'll just show you the one that's on my portfolio. It's on YouTube.
How? When?
Where?
We got this.
Now, how shall we honor your mother in the way she truly deserves?
Dad's buried at Cedar Grove. The plot next to him is available. They should be together.
Can we just match his headstone and keep it simple? Or we remove his entirely and install a companion monument. Joined hearts, premium granite, top tier for eternity. Whoa, we should slow down.
I thought Mom talked about cremation.
Parents say lots of things in life. My own father once said he was in love with a parakeet. What about that one? Dependable choice. But for $3,000 more, this model includes protective sealing. You do not want seepage.
What is that?
The opposite of dignity. I say simplify with our peace of mind package. Casket, vault, flowers, monument, full service coordination. One number. 0 worries. Thus your sadness remain uninterrupted. That number is very aggressive.
Can we just not fight right now? We'll take it. It's worse than you said, James. She hated blue. And sparkles.
Apologies, we had a little mix-up. Similar last names, easy fix. Just give us a moment and we'll have her back in her own dress in no time. No charge for the trouble, of course.
Hey, but tell me you didn't lose the dress I dropped off.
Of course not. I know exactly where it is.
And what the hell's going on with her makeup? She looks like a ghost raisin.
Don't worry. A quick makeover and she'll look good enough to pop up and play pickleball.
I need another Xanax.
$23,487. I want to say that number out loud so we all hear it. $23,400.
Stop! We get it, James. Mom deserved the best. That's not negotiable.
I'm not saying she didn't. But that man sold you on seepage, Lisa.
Did she even have a will? No will.
But the local lawyer wanted thousands. A penny pincher till the end.
Great. There goes Tommy's travel hockey.
And, sorry kids, no Harry Potter land.
Oh, beans. Mom would have hated this, every bit of it.
We commit our dear departed Judith back to the earth. And now Emily will release the doves, sending our love to heaven.
Children, look away! I told you we should have skipped the doves.
Emily really wanted them.
Who the hell ordered bagpipes? She's not even Scottish! Morning, Dean.
Morning, Judith. Hey, I swapped out that head on zone 3. The old one had some seepage at the base.
Good you caught it.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, so that one was a lot of work, but fun. And you know, the action scenes at the end, that was what was holding me up, and that's when Sea Dance really came in and saved my butt.
So was it mostly Nano Banana that you did it in, or?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the hard parts you use Sea Dance sparingly then.
I mean, at the end, I was just, you know, kept throwing $100 into Runway for credits, and then because it's so good, like that scene when he knocked over the casket, she pushes the guy. That was all one shot, like, so that all came out from one prompt, and it added that shot where it cut to a close up, like here, where's that? Right here. It added, so I gave it, this was the starting image, like I think it was like, this is the starting image. I think I gave it 2 or 3 images, and then it did this, like that was the impressive part, when it did this kind of like medium shot, and then it cut back. It did that all on its own, and it added the sound in, and I'm just like, and so a couple times, like Sea Dance just, it can do things, it adds the sound, and it's really good with action. So, you know, if you're doing something shorter, but this is probably my biggest achievement as far as, I actually felt like I'm starting to finally get to be able to get people feel like they're in a room. Like, you see so many AI videos where it's all these cool moving shots and these wide angles, and I want to just try to, like, for people, if I'm succeeding if they don't think it's AI. You know, I mean, they probably will assume some of these shots are AI anyways, but if I can get realistic scenes of people just sharing emotions and trying to get, like, you know, small scenes with people, like, that's what I'm interested in. because like that's just basic storytelling. You see what's on Netflix and stuff. Most of the stuff is like people sitting in a car having a discussion about this, about that. Maybe they're walking down the street. So all the talking scenes, like, and I'm sure Seedance could do it, but VO is more economical because I was on their Ultra plan where you get like 25,000 credits, and you can just run prompts over and over and over again, and it gets better. And now they got consistent voices. I would have loved to have that, but you can see like most of those talking scenes, whenever they're exchanging, that's all VO, and yeah. So that's pretty much the state of AI filmmaking, and I hope it was informative. And if you have any questions, shoot.
I do have a question. Do you know, like, okay, so you go there, you have your visual reference, you create a prompt, and then you go, and then they generate this first video. If it's not quite how you like it, do you go back to the prompt, or you keep chatting in the
That's a good question.
video?
That's something that like you will start to develop that sense as you do more of them, and sometimes you'll be like, it's close enough to where, because it's like there's like 3 different ways to go. One is, okay, I could change what I needed out of the shot. Maybe I don't need what I thought. Maybe I just need the back end, which it nailed. So you can change what you actually desired out of the shot. Another one is like, if you can afford it, especially if it's on a client's dime, you can just rerun the prompt if it's close. Sometimes you'll get close and then you do it again and then it gets further away. It's almost like Marco Polo. It's like hot and cold. And then maybe you try in a different engine, and then maybe you tweak the prompt or you simplify it a little. But as I have skills for the video prompting too, so I have one for VO, I have 2 for VO, and I have 2 for Seedance, which I have my favorites in there. But sometimes you do need to go back and then rethink the shot. And I would say that probably the fallacy that biggest one I made was like trying to fix it by just rerunning it more than going back and like analyzing, is there a better way that I could do this, or should I change the approach? And so between those 3 things, you'll start to get a feel of like, oh, I can, how to get what you want, and sometimes it's far off. Like, I'll tell you though, if you nail the keyframes, like I was saying, like just trying to get 2 people talking, like which scene was it? Like just to get them over the shoulder when they're talking to each other about, oh, the rain is coming now. I forgot that it started raining, so then I had all these great shots of them talking, but it was after it started raining, so then I had to go back and like generate the still frame with her with wet hair and rain. So when you move fast, just be careful about that, because you'll create a bunch of extra work for yourself. But just getting good camera angles, and this is where, to answer your question in the very back there about filmmaking, what you want to do is, if you have a scene, like here's like just the basics. Probably the hardest part of filmmaking for a new person is eye line. Like if 2 people are talking, you're cutting back and forth. Go online and then just look for a bunch of examples of like, how do I do a 2-shot over the shoulder? Like how do I show 2 people interacting? Like that's what I was thinking about. At the end there, when he's telling her about the sprinkler and the broken head, that took me a whole day. It seems so simple. It took me a whole day to get the lighting right, to get them where I get the angle where they're both kind of felt like they're looking at each other. I think that's going to get a lot easier going forward, because now there's going to be tools where I'm working on a prompt right now where it'll just give me a bunch of options, and then you just kind of go from there. But great question, and it's kind of like trial and error, But yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope some of it's informative, and go out there and make a film.
Thank you.
Startup Folsom.